Hello and good morning all you blockers out there today, and welcome to our Sampler 2. I want to go ahead and get started. Just to kind of give you a heads up, I have a new camera person today. It's Isabel, everybody. There she is. Hello Isabel. So things, she's not used to this, but she's helping me out today. So bear with us if you see a lot of jerkiness in the video. It's not me, trying to do any type of dance or anything. But if that's what you want to think, then hey, she's making fun of me back there. I love when she does that. So our block today, let's go ahead and get started. We had a few people that did post, and so of course we'll have our very first drawing at the end of this segment. And everybody did very, very nicely on their blocks. And I see that Laura is using the actual fabrics that the book is having, recommending that you use, I guess. So that'll be interesting to see because you'll actually see it played out in the end. And I want to go ahead and give everybody like your sizes that you're going to need. If you do not have the book, because you can certainly join us if you don't, I give you all of the instructions. Friday I give you cutting instructions to give you time to be able to get ready. And even if you don't have Facebook and you don't get it that way, or you don't get it on our emails, you can join us on Tuesday mornings at 10 a.m. and I give you all of the sizes. Jot them down, get your paper and pen ready and jot them all down and get ready to do a lot of cutting. This one is a lot of cutting, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and just give you all of the sizes and give Isabel a chance to get used to the zoom here. Oh, there was a jerk. Sorry about that, guys. So what we're going to do with this one, you will need 4 colors. And you need a background color, which are the first 3 that I'm going to give you. And it's very important, and you will find this out. If you didn't find it out in the last block, you will on this block. You need to letter these. It's easier to letter instead of number. But you need to, A through N are the pieces that we're going to have. And as you can see here, like I go through and I have like little sticky labels on my top pieces. And so I had a snowflake background, and I said this last week, make sure that if you are using a tone on tone, that when you get ready to put your right sides together, that your right side is up with your tone on tone, because sometimes it's kind of hard to tell those. And when you step back and you look and you're all of a sudden saying, yeah, I didn't put that on right, and then you have to rip it out. So anyway, we're going to start here with our A piece, and that is needing to cut 8 pieces at 3 1/4 inches. Okay, so this is my A, and my B is going to be 4. So you need to cut 4 at 2 3/4 by 5 inches. So you will end up with a rectangle piece. Okay. On C, you need to cut 4, and these are 2 3/4 inch squares. Then we go into what is pictured as our center of our block, and this is what I'm calling the inner star. And you need one big 5-inch square, and this is what I used for mine this time, is kind of the gray swirl. And then to accompany that, to be able to get our points for that, you need to cut 8 of that same fabric 2 3/4 inch squares. Okay, and then we're going to go to what is being considered as our I call it the middle, the mid burst of the star. And we need 4 3 1/4 inch square, and we need 4 2 3/4 inch by 5 inch, and that's our rectangle, okay, for that particular piece. And then we need 4 2 3/4 inch squares, and then we need 8 2 3/4 inch squares. And it's very important that you have these, make sure that you have everything lettered, because when you start grabbing these and it goes in the book, it goes by letters, you can keep up with everything and know what's supposed to go with what. And then our last burst, which I call the outer burst, we need 12 3 1/4 inch squares. And we're moving over here to 4 of the rectangle squares, which is 2 3/4 by 5 inches. And then we have 4 of 2 3/4 inch squares. And our last one here would be the 8 pieces that we need of 2 3/4 inch squares. Again, keeping these, you know, with the L and M, because they're both 2 3/4, but you have 4 of one and 8 of another. And then our very last block, we need 4 2 inch squares. And again, remember, whatever your big star is going to be that is in each corner, is what you are wanting to make sure that you keep as your corner in every block to be able to get that star at the end, okay? So we are going to go ahead and, Isabel, if we could just show real quick. I don't have all of this pieced together, but this is more of an intermediate, advanced quilt. It's not like our quilt before. And so a lot of these, you guys already know how to kind of assemble and put things together. So I went ahead and got us a good head start here, where I'm only going to be putting one piece together and then showing to be able to get each section together, which everybody should already know that if you've made it this far with us, right? So the very first thing we're going to do is we are going to do those corner squares. So everyone needs to have their C and their N pieces, okay? So this is going to be what creates this piece here. So what we need to do, and this is where everyone needs to have their ruler, which, yeah, I forgot my ruler. You want to grab that real quick? The small one. And so we are going to take the small, I'm using red in all of my corners to be able to create that red star. And so we want to be able to lay our piece down, and we are going to use our wash away or our air marker and be able to draw our line. Is that showing? Are they able to see this on here?
Yes.
Okay. And so when I am just doing just a diagonal, what I do, and I've showed this before in sampler 1, but I take my Creative Grid ruler, okay, and I lay this corner to corner, but I'm lining it up where my center will be along one of these lines here, so that I know that I am lined up and squared right where I need to be able to draw that line. So are you able to see that? So right here is the point of that square, and it's lined up, but right down the center here is my other point, so that I can see that I am ready to draw that line. And those lines are very, very important, because once you put your right sides together, so I have to make sure that, because again, my tone on tone, and it is in the correct spot, and set that there. And then I am going to put this up in the corner, just like this, because when I stitch this going across, this is going to end up getting trimmed back here, and this part is going to flip over and take place of that new, just like this, take place of the new spot with the color piece, okay? And then on the back, see where we take and we trim, okay? So we trim this to a 1/4 inch on the back after this is stitched together. Now you got to make sure that you are not getting the top part of this when you go to, when you're trimming, it'll be, flip this over. When you trim and you line this up on the ruler for your 1/4 inch and you line that right on top of your 1/4 inch line right down here, and then you're going to take and you're going to trim. You're going to trim this off right at your 1/4 inch. That way this piece is still up underneath there, so when that is gone and you flip this over, then you're going to have this right here. And you're going to do 4 of these, 1 for each corner, okay? Now, with that being said, make sure that when you do these, that you place them right back. Remember, we're always creating our puzzle, and we're always putting our puzzle pieces right back as soon as we stitch whatever it is we're stitching, right back down, so that we make sure that they're all going the way that they're supposed to go when we get ready to start flipping. So you do your 4 corners, and we put those in each one of the corners, okay? And then the next part, and I'm just going to look right here because this is telling me which ones I actually need. So I need J and A. So I have my J piece and I have my A piece. Now again, these are going to end up being right sides together, okay? And since my top piece here is the black and it is dark, we probably will not see our marking of the blue or the purple on top of that. And so there are like chalk pens that you can also get that you can use to be able to mark the lines for that, which is what I did with this. Or you could turn it over and draw your lines on the opposite side and be able to, what we're needing to do here is, which let me show you on here. This is where the Fons and Porter 1/4 inch ruler comes into play, because we are going to sew these together and then we're going to cut to where we have 2 separate pieces. So what we'll do here is we use our, you see it? Okay. Okay. So we line up that middle yellow line right here, right corner to corner, and then we take our air pin or wash away, whatever you want to use, and we draw our line on each side of that, okay? Because what we just did here is we drew our line for our stitch line. And then you can take that same ruler, or you can take your other Creative Grid ruler and lay it right on top of one of those lines. So what I would do with this one is line one of the blue lines with the yellow. We're going to put that right on top, because that's going to let me draw my 1/4 inch right down the center. Okay, because now the center one will be my cut line. So we've got 2 stitch lines and then we've got the cut line. So now what we would do is we would put these 2 right sides together. Okay, and if you feel comfortable enough to just start stitching and that's what you want to do, then go ahead and do that. Or if you feel better, if you put a pin in there, put a pin on both sides, of course free from the stitch line, and then you're going to go over to your machine and you're going to stitch down one side and then stitch down the other side. When you stitch those, you'll come back and you will just put your ruler right there, right on top, so that you get a nice straight cut. I do not recommend using scissors because who wants jagged edges? So go ahead and use your rotary cutter, give that a good swipe. You will then separate those into 2 pieces, and they would come out just like this, okay? So when you get those made, then when you come over, you've got to make sure that when you're laying them out, that you are laying them accordingly to how they are in the book, because those are going to be your starburst points. So it looks like on the, well, it just depends on how you're going to do it, because you have 2. So let's just say that we're going to set up just 1 block. And so we did our first block here that had our white with the red, okay? And then we have the other blocks that I just showed with the white and the black. And when you set this up, I call it a bow tie. So to know that it's going the proper direction, create a bow tie right underneath your corner square, okay? And then to close that in, you're going to put your solid piece right there in the front, and then attached to the big solid piece is where we'll bring this out and create another bow tie effect, just like that. And then we put, is that right? No, the bow tie should be the next color, right? Yep. And then these attach as an extended. So if you have, this is the extended. So again, when you're putting it together, for those of you that don't have the book, that's what I'm trying to figure out, so that I can tell you if you don't have the book and you can see how this is going together. So you have your first piece here, which is your corner piece. And then the other, the next pieces that will be for your outer burst, you want to start that with creating a little bow tie effect. Okay, so you've got your outer, whatever you're using for your outer color, and then your outer burst. That's going to start your outer burst color. And then you have your inner, how do I want to say that? You have the inside of that burst, so that this piece should match whatever these 2, your bow tie is. And then you're taking your other 2 pieces that are also an extended bow tie, except they have a separator. So actually that kind of looks like a cat. Like a cat. Oh,
it looks like a cat, and like it has like whiskers.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, cat with whiskers. Or it could be like, if you move this out of the way, see, it's like a candy, you know, one of those candies that you, yeah. So if that kind of helps, I don't know, I probably just confused you even more, I don't know.
Make a cat with whiskers.
Okay, Isabel said make a cat with whiskers. So if that helps you, you know, then think of a cat with whiskers. And so you're going to, the one thing too, I kind of missed this part. The one thing that I really like about this book is when they do the sizing, and they tell you what to put together. When you put it together, then it gives you what that size, what the finished size should be. And if you go through and you do all of the little trimmings, because those little trimmings all add up, and if you stay within what it is telling you, then you will have a perfect block in the end. And I highly, highly recommend that. So if we go back to this first block, it should measure as 2 3/4. So when you get this all stitched together and you trim that 1/4 inch in the back, line it back up and measure to make sure that this measures 2 3/4 all the way around. If you have a little bit hanging off or something, trim it. And the same with the one that we just did here. These should also measure 2 3/4 inch. And so you want to make sure, 2 3/4 inch. So make sure that all of these measure 2 3/4 inch, okay? And then the next thing is you're going to then do F, let me make sure, J and F is what we just did. Oh, but we skipped J and A.
No, you just did J and A.
We did J and A? Was
Yes.
that J and A?
That's
Okay.
J and A.
Okay, J and A. See, thank you. That's why I miss you. And the next one is J and F. Okay, so then you would take your F piece and you would take your J piece, which I only cut one of each one of these because it's a lot of fabric to go through trying to show all of these. So then you'll take your J and your F, you'll put those together, which you will do the exact same thing that we just did with J and A. And then it's going to turn out just the exact same way, right? Where you will go through, you're doing this method here, okay? Where we're measuring, oops, upside down. We're measuring to be able to give us a stitch line and then our center line to be able to cut, and then we'll open that up and it will turn into this. And you want these to be 2 3/4 inch. This down there, good, okay. 2 3/4 inch, all right? And don't forget that we're trimming. We take and we trim right down the center, okay? Open those up, and this is where, so now the cat with whiskers, or the bow tie and the candy piece, whatever you want to call it, now turns into where we're putting these two down as a bow tie. So
A cat with whiskers and a bow tie.
yeah, a cat with whiskers and a bow tie. There you go. And then you will go ahead, so it's just kind of a repeat.
Actually, it's like a bib.
A bib.
A bib. Cat
Yeah,
with a bib.
because of so you will have two solid squares that will be right down the center here, and then a bow tie and a bow tie right off of each one of those, okay? And then you are going to create 4 of these pieces here. So when you get ready to stitch these together, this is what we did all of the last quilt, sampler 1. You all know what you need to do with these, but I will show for anybody that's just joining. Maybe you did not do sampler 1. If you have some background of being able to do quilting, I'm not worried about that. But if you do not and you're trying to take this on firsthand, because there's a lot of things that I give in the first video, of tips and different things like that, I highly recommend that you at least watch it to try to pick up on some of these methods, because I will just kind of roll through these. Everyone that's with me pretty much knows we've done these. So when I go through, if you don't understand, either call and let me know that you're trying to figure this out, you don't get it, so that I can try to help you. So when we're doing this, we are going to, I'm using like what's closest to me, my right hand, and I am flipping this right on top with right sides together, and I will go ahead and put a pin right here to indicate this is the side that I need to stitch down, okay? So what I can do so that I'm not up and down, is I'm going to take and I'm going to flip each one of these, okay? We're going to flip each one of these onto the other piece, lay it down there. So you're pinning all of them. And the pin, again, is indicating where you need to stitch, all right? So we'll do that. And then you would take those over and you would stitch right down the side where you have the pins. And then you would come back, and I'm going to pretend like that we have this, all right? That this is already like put together, we've stitched it, and I pressed it, I opened it up, and this is how it would look. Okay, I'm going to take this piece then, because I'm just lying down each one of the pieces that I just did, matching them all back up to make sure that they're going where they need to go. And then I'm flipping this piece right on top of the two that I just put together. And then I'm going to put a pin right here so that I know that is where I need to make my stitch. Okay? And then you're going to go through and you're going to do that with each one of these. And we'll flip that one right on top. Very, very important. You want to make sure that you're lying these back down the way that they need it to go, because it is so easy, so simple to be able to get these all confused. And we'll put this over here, right on top of that one. And then when you get it all stitched together, the total block then should measure 7 1/4 by 7 1/4. And so you want to make sure that you measure to make sure that you've got that 7 1/4 by 7 1/4. So your finished block will look like this.
It's a cat holding its paws up wearing a bib.
Okay, Isabel said it's a cat holding its paws up wearing a bib. Okay, all right, that's what we're going to go with. So you're going to make 4 of those, all right? And then we'll move on to, let me come over here. Now we are going to do the center of the star pieces, okay? Let me make sure that I am correct on what they are doing. Yes. Okay, so the next thing you're going to do is you're going to take M. Where is M?
This
Okay,
one right up
M
in front.
and B. Now this one, we are going to do a bunch of flying geese. And so to do that, again, we have, how do I want to say, if you're using a darker fabric, you will want to use the chalk, unless you want to do it on the other side, but that will make it kind of difficult, I guess. So it's easier just to go ahead and use the chalk if you have a darker piece. But what you're going to do here is you're going to mark, and you're going to, these are going to be important because you have to, when you're marking, you need to make sure when you're laying, let me just try to figure this. If I mark one of these real quick here, just to show you. Well, let me do it on the white. You want to make sure that you're doing on the on the proper side. Because when you're doing right sides together, and say if I put it this way and I'm stitching, okay, this is not like the right size for some reason. You want to make sure that that's going to go that way, and then the next piece is going to go this way so that you have an arrow look. Okay, so make sure that when you are doing those, that you are lining those up on the piece properly. And you're doing right sides together, and you will stitch on those lines. Again, this is where you're going to take and you're going to cut your 1/4 inch. So you will then line up with your ruler, okay? You're going to line up right there and then be able to do your 1/4 inch cut. And you're going to do that on all of these other pieces that are made for the center part. When you get that, you're going to do B and M, because that is going to get you this outer piece here, okay? So B and M would be this piece. And then you're going to do the same for K and I. So K.
K is
Where is K?
front row.
K and I. Okay, yeah, and so K and I is going to, so let me just kind of get rid of that one. K and I would end up on my colors, so it's gonna look like this. And then you would do E and G. You're gonna use E and G to be able to get that piece. Can you see that?
Yeah.
All right. You're gonna, sorry guys. Then you'll get that. And then you'll take and put all three of those together, but you've got to make sure that they're all lined up properly, that they're laid out, and you're flipping your center onto, the best way to do it is when they're lying down, take the middle part and put it towards you, place it right on top and do your stitch, and then press it, lay it out, and then add your next piece. Okay? And those pieces should also measure 2 3/4 inches each when you get ready to put those together. And then it should be, this whole piece here should be 5 and 7 1/4 inches. Okay? So 5 going across, because your big piece here is 5 inches, so that should stay your 5 inches, and then you're building here, and that should be your 7 1/4. And then the only thing that you would have left out of all of that would be your center block. So what I did was I went ahead and I put my center together. So I took the two pieces, I took these, okay, and I went ahead and took my center block and I just flipped this right on top of that center block there, and I did a stitch, pressed it open, and then I took the other one that's over here, okay, and did the same thing, flipped it this way and did the stitch, and then pressed it, opened it up, and then voila, we have our center. And then we can go ahead and the other pieces, so Isabel, if you want to show, I'm going to go ahead and flip these on top. So we've got our 2 pieces here that we did for our corners, and then we've got our center piece. So you're going to take and you're going to flip your corner piece right onto that center piece. Now if you notice, you have your seams here. Are you able to see that? You have those seams.
Yeah. Okay, we're good.
Right there?
Yep.
Okay. So you have these seams. You want to match these seams up, all right? When we do that, to be able to stay and get perfect points, we want to make sure that we have our pin, and we are pinning right in the center of our seam that we just did. And put it through on the other side, make sure that it is perfectly lined up, and then we go ahead and flip that, and then come over to the other side, making sure that that also matches up. We've got almost there. Okay, and I always do like my center parts first, and then go ahead and extend out. So if you go through and do on both of those, again, we're finding our center, putting our pin in, and coming back with that. And that's the whole trick, is making sure that it is perfectly in the seam. If it's not, wiggle it around, make it get there. And then, just to make sure that none of this moves over here, we go ahead and put our pin in here, and one on this end. And if you feel like you just have to, you can put one in the center as well, just to make sure that there's no monkey business going on there. And then you'll go ahead and you will stitch this. When you open it up, then you will have these perfect points. And so we'll lay this one down. We'll come over. We're going to pretend like this is already stitched together. And then we're gonna grab this one and we're gonna flip that right on top.
And do the
Again.
exact same thing.
Yep, do the exact same thing. And we are matching up these points, okay? And you're gonna pin and take that over and stitch. And then press it, bring it back. When you get the last row, you're gonna do the exact same thing that we just did here. And then when you get that, you're gonna bring this over, you're gonna lay it out, and you're gonna take this piece and you're gonna flip it right on top. Again, when you see that you have seams, that center should match up, and you go ahead, put your pins in there, and you're gonna stitch all along here, come over after you've pressed it, lay it back out, and you're gonna flip this piece right on top. Again, matching any seams, and go ahead and do your stitching. And then, by gosh, we will have, mine's kind of messed up right now, but I will finish stitching mine together and be able to post my picture along with our other that we have, that we did last week. And then we'll have ourselves a big, what is this one? Sparkle and Shine. Sparkle and Shine block, okay? And let me make sure, so this is, let me just kind of show right here. This, can you see that?
Let me zoom in on it.
Yeah, this is like the finished of this one. And then, you got it? Okay,
Yep.
So keep it right there. I'm gonna turn it around so that you can kind of see with just kind of a solid colors there. Can you see that?
Yep.
Of how that all fits together. All this is, it's all a puzzle. And as long as you keep your puzzle pieces in place, your puzzle will be finished. And then our next week's block is called Give a Gift block. And it is going to look like this. So I can go ahead and show you that it looks like this. I haven't had a chance to make mine yet. But we will have, hopefully, we're trying to get it to where I can post a couple of videos a week so that we can try to get this done a little quicker than Thanksgiving. And then we're going to take a break because I need a break. We're going to take a break and we'll reconvene with more block know-how and other ways of creating quilts with different types of blocks. I think our next one, if anyone is interested, will be like using a panel piece and what we need to do with that. So Isabel's making me laugh. Okay, so if anyone does have any questions, I know I kind of went through this. I didn't stop and do my stitching like I usually do. We've got a lot of different things going on, and I'm trying to just stay caught up. And let me just say that it's not easy. So I hope that everyone was able to understand putting this piece together. If you do have any questions, please, by all means, come in. And Isabel's raising her hand. Yes, Isabel.
What's the snack of the week?
Oh, that's all she thinks about, the snack of the week. Okay, well, we'll get there. So now, if anyone does, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate, come in, call me, whatever it takes. And I hope that you were able to work yourself through this. If you have the book, it is a great book, and you will be able to see what it is that I'm talking about. It shows the pictures in there, and it's very, very self-explanatory. So now that we are past all that, and as I said last week, we will have our first drawing for this week for everyone that posted their blocks on our Facebook page at So Crazy. And our goodie is the frosted people, frosted animal crackers. Okay, and hey, they're pretty good. But here, this is how good they are. We had a full bowl, and between Isabel and I, we've been eating quite a bit of them. And so Isabel gets to do the drawing.
Oh my
Yay!
gosh.
And we only have a few names. Not many people have theirs finished. But I think a lot of you might be kind of tired. I know I'm tired from the first block and quilt, and we're trying to still get ours finished so that I can show you the finish. So, and the first winner is it is Tracy Kroger. Tracy was one of our last winners. So Tracy, look, yay! And I wanted to say I haven't had a chance to post to everybody on Facebook, the ones that did post their blocks, but when I first saw your block, Tracy, I thought of like an acorn. I thought of an acorn because the colors, you know, they were kind of the fall colors. And I was like, oh, the little pieces that are like up in the corner, it reminded me like of an acorn. But anyway, so Tracy is our very first winner for Sampler 2. Again, what we do is you receive a free yard of fabric, and then you get some animal crackers, Tracy. So that will Isabel's eating them, the rest of them. She just couldn't wait until we were all finished so she could get the rest of them. And okay, well, if anybody has any questions, please again don't hesitate, call me. And other than that, I will post my finished block as soon as I'm done, and we will then reconvene and see you next Tuesday, 10 a.m. And bye for now.
Peace out.